Affairs Forum of WZTV Fox 17. And now your host, Dr. James Haney.
Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is stopping the violence. And we're fortunate to have with us two persons to talk about the efforts to stop violence and the nature of violence. Dr. May Alice Ridley. And Dr. Ridley is with the Tennessee State Department. And of course, with Dr. Ridley is Mr. Sidney Wingfield. And Mr. Wingfield is with the juvenile court system. And let me welcome both of you to the program this morning, Dr. Ridley and Mr. Wingfield.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Dr. Ridley, let's talk about stopping the violence. But before we get into a topic about stopping the violence, let's talk about you and, of course, Mr. Wingfield, to have the two of you to give us some information about your background and your education and some of the things that were important in terms of bringing you where you are today.
Okay. I'm a native Nashvilleian. I'm a mother of two children, early widowed. I have two grandchildren. So I've been teaching school in Metro for some odd number of years. We won't say how many. I received my education, formal education, in the public schools of Nashville. And my college degree in Bachelor's of Science History, the major at Tennessee State University, minor in education. I received the Master's of Science degree at Tennessee State University. And I went on to the University of Pittsburgh and received a doctorate degree in American history. I have minor fields in the religion of history of religion, black studies, and the colonial period and the middle period. I specialize in the Nadir period, and I'm, of course, interested in my neighborhood, my community, and my city. I left the public schools and went to work for the State Department of Education, and I started off with working with alternative education. I've always loved to work with the children that seem to be at risk, because there are great rewards for working with these children. And it's almost instant gratification. You know, you see them grow and you see the lights click, and it's immediate response once you get them, you know, in tune and motivated to learn. So I have a history of working with children at risk and inner city kids most of the time. So alternative education was not new to me. Thus, I began to work with dropout prevention. That is now what I'm doing as an executive assistant to the Commissioner of Education. I work specifically with the dropout prevention program.
Very good.
So that leads me to stopping the violence.
Very good. And of course, Mr. Wingfield, let's have you to give us some information about your background, and then we'll get into that program, Dr. Ridley, about stopping the violence and some of the other things.
All right, and I'll try and make mine concise as I can. I've been at the juvenile court system for the last 10 years and worked in every capacity that they have at juvenile court except actually hearing cases from the bench. Before that, I worked with the Department of Human Services, on and on and on in social work programs. I have a Master's of Science of Social Work from the University of Tennessee, have a bachelor's degree from Scarrett College for Christian Workers with a dual concentration in world religion and behavioral science. I was born in Chicago and grew up in Chicago on the South Side during some rough years, and I was able to see exactly what the kinds of problems that Nashville is beginning to confront now. I grew up in and began doing my research in that field some 25 years ago to come up with solutions that could be implemented and actually work.
Yeah, we're going to talk about some of those problems and some of those solutions today, Mr. Wingfield.
All right.
But before we get into that, Dr. Ridley, let's talk about an organization that you also represent, and that is the Links organization.
Yes.
Give us some information about that organization and the relationship that that organization has had with some of the problems that we're dealing with this morning.
The Links is a group of professional women joined together at the chain of friendship to embrace and embody the ideals and goals of helping to uplift the community, stop the creation of problems, and bring about some solutions to societal problems. We have some 254 chapters in the United States, the Bahamas, and Germany. Our national president is Dr. Patricia Russell McLeod, and she was recently nominated and elected as our national president, and she appointed me to the chair of the education linkage for the links. And we have 4 program facets that we deal with. National trends and services, services to youth, international trends, and the arts. And education linkage comes up under the national trends and services to youth. And our focus this year for the next biennium will be stopping the violence.
In other words, the entire organization